Good afternoon. My name is KoolBreeze. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce Amun to Jackie Vibes Radio broadcast facilities on Eglinton Avenue at Glenholm. My name is Curtis Anthony. Thanks for the opportunity to talk to you. We are going to talk about your evolution, your mission, your vision of your craft. KoolBreeze is here to chronicle the vibe and magnify your brilliance. A pleasure to have you on the show. Amun, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm doing my best.
Yes?
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
It's a privilege.
Yes, thank you. Tell me, where are you from?
Personally, they dropped me in Jamaica.
Okay.
That's where I was born.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm from Jamaica.
All right.
Yes.
And tell the fans, local to global, what it is you do.
What I do, first of all, I'm a student of the master teacher, Reverend Dr. Malachi York. He's written over 1,000 books, right? And he speaks on history, science, comparative religious studies, Freemasonry, spirituality, name it. It's like a one-stop shop,
okay,
where everything is there. So what I do is, my job as a student teacher is to cure all the lies, trying to remove what they term faith and belief.
All right.
And inform people that they should study, that they should investigate.
Right.
They should not just accept what's been told to them. Like I was told when I was young about Santa Claus, I just accepted it as a reality. I never asked, okay, where does Santa come from?
Right.
Mom, did the reindeers fly? I didn't. So that's based off of faith and belief.
Right.
So his job is to dismantle the faith and belief and to bring actual facts and sound right reasoning to the planet to get us back in our right mind, because everybody's confused.
Right.
So,
And
so that is my purpose. Is to help spread right knowledge.
okay. Were you part of the Afro-Caribbean flea market?
Yes, I was.
Tell us a bit. Let's talk about that.
Well, when it first started, it was during what they termed the pandemic, and everything was closed, like literally everything. And the coordinators of this, where she was able to speak to certain official,
right,
to bring something out of nowhere, where it was able to captivate Eglinton Avenue West, right, with how she had organized it and the different vendors that came, even during what they call a pandemic, where hundreds of people came,
right,
and eventually what she did became a pattern as the pandemic lifted for other communities from like Mississauga, Durham region, which was something phenomenal, was never been seen in Toronto due to the pandemic situation.
Right.
So it was a very healthy environment. You had healthy food, you had healthy people, and you had the different city officials who came and engaged with the populace in the Eglinton Avenue West. So it was truly remarkable to be a part of that. And while I was there, I was actually vending books, what we call scrolls of actual facts and the master's secrets that were authored by Dr. Malachi York.
Cool. And how did you find the Afro-Caribbean Festival this year compared to the other years?
Every year it grows,
right?
And so what happened, because other people see how the idea was so successful, so instead of people all coming again, is that they started their own markets in other places, which is nothing wrong with that.
Right.
It shows that she has a great idea.
Right. And people copying.
And her idea, not necessarily copying, is just that it shows that if you're doing something great, if we all do that and follow the prototype, it'll be successful.
Right.
So what happened, that gives her the chance for new people now to actually come to the market here, who might have been there the year before,
Okay.
but they've seen the formula and it's successful.
Right.
Is if KoolBreeze, because if the breeze ain't cool, I don't want to feel it. So if I go somewhere else and the breeze ain't cool,
I like that.
I'm leaving. So what happened?
Check it.
She created a prototype. I think her name is Lori Beezer.
Right.
Where she created a prototype, so people are able to see the success of what she did, and they're able to duplicate it in other places. So what happened? The breeze tastes cool no matter where you go.
Right. True that. Amen to that.
So it was good.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Right. Man, it just a lot. I like how the after COVID, you see the Caribbean, African diaspora starting to energize itself.
Exactly.
All over the. I mean, like you look at Eglinton Avenue, the transformation with the subway and the vendors.
Yes.
So we're hoping that some of these vendors could stay here and keep this thing authentic.
They have no choice because you know it's little Jamaica.
Right.
So even if they have they would rotate, it'd be just as good.
Right.
And it's just gotta be if they decide to leave, it's about coming up with creative ideas.
Right.
And she's very creative. So people always want they don't wear the same pair of shoes for a whole year. They're gonna buy a new pair of shoes.
Correct.
So long as she uses her creative mind, the people who are creative, those people who think they left, they're gonna come back because they might not be as creative as she is, and they're gonna have to come back to get new ideas to keep what they're going, keep going.
Right.
So she's very creative. So it's only gonna get better, and the people they're gonna end up coming back anyway because they might run out of ideas, and she doesn't run out of ideas.
Nice.
And then Eglinton is also thriving, it's being rebuilt. So yeah, it's only success. That's the only option is success.
Well, I experienced, because I roll tape for Jackie Vibes Radio. You see me with my sweetheart camcorder rolling tape for Durham Festival, Rastafest.
Exactly.
What else we have in the area? We're at Fairbank Festival. You name it, I'm in there, man. Anything for the community. I'm re-rolling tape, telling the stories. Normally these stories don't get told, and if you do see something on TV, it's like a minute or two type thing, a flash. Whereas you could go on to YouTube and get the in-depth stories of the flea market, all the events, the Sinting Festival that happened last year, and a lot of this good stuff. So what would you like to see after all this subway business is settled down and
what I like to see, first of all, you're telling the truth, because stories are lies. So what happened, you come in the community and you project the truth to the population at home and abroad. So that's what you do. But what I like to see is for us, if it's even possible, is to start owning the real estate. A lot of time is that we're renting.
Yes.
So because we don't have ownership, ownership is very important.
It is.
So what I would like to see is that we actually have ownership of these different spaces. So they can't kick us out when they want.
Yes, and
so
also
ownership is very important.
Also to add to that, the leasing aspect of when you own.
Yeah.
And a proper investing for building generational wealth.
Exactly. Definitely building generational wealth.
Yeah.
But it's like we spend so much money as a people on other stuff.
Yes.
That's just it's like a fruit. Okay, you look at a fruit, the outside looks nice. Then you have inside the flesh, and then you have the seed that makes the flesh and the outside.
Right.
So what happened? The generational wealth that's taking care of the seed, which is the soul of the people.
Right.
Or our children. But a lot of times we spend most of our money on the outside of what we look like.
Right.
And not the seed, which is the generational wealth.
Right.
And that's the part that we gotta get to, because without the seed, ain't nothing gonna grow.
True.
So the soil is Eglinton, right? It's just that we gotta think about generational wealth and nurture the seeds, which is the future, the children.
Okay.
And everybody wants their children. There's some people driving by now talking about part 2 to the COVID, and they're saying save the children.
Yeah.
So everybody realize it's about the children. So we have to work together and what we have in common.
Right.
Yeah.
True that. And yeah, it's It's how do you with your books and your message and your teachings of what you learn, bringing the truth to the younger generation.
Yeah.
How do you do that these days? How do you get their attention?
How you get their attention is sometimes you gotta meet them at their level and speak to them, because they're so distracted by parties, movies, and they have a right to do that. Cause when I was a teenager, I was distracted by those things.
Technology.
So I'm not technology.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna tell them not to do it.
Right.
So what happened? I just find what they like doing and start a conversation that way. Then I asked them, okay, have you ever thought about this? Because sometimes the lifestyle that might be in, sometimes is only lead to two places. Sometimes either the prison or the graveyard.
Right.
Right. So what happened is a book that we sell. It's an actual fact. It's called The Spiritual You After You Physically Die.
Right.
So it shows them the different options. Like, for example, if you kill somebody in this life, what happened when you come back? You're going to get killed. Experience that, because there's a certain amount of experience that each being needs to take before they leave this this realm, what they call the physical realm. So when they can see their options from reading this book, they might take a second guess on what they're doing. Like, do they want to come back and reincarnate back on this planet to go through what they did to someone else?
Right.
So that's how I engage to the youth on what they are, be it sports, be it music, be it females, and from that I segue into a specific book, be the actual facts, a master's secret, or Patrak, written by Dr. Malachi Z. York, and trying to give their interest that way, because there's something within that book that's gonna spark them, and they will make a U-turn, and after they make that U-turn, it's up to them after that to see how long they're going to travel on the road, because it's not an easy road.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How did you meet Dr. Malachi, and how did that transform your life?
How I met him, first there's a brother I met, it was at Scarborough Town Center. It was like probably 96 or 97, and he was selling these books at a table, and the book was called A Man from Planet Risk. So when I read that book, it blew my mind. It was like, I was like, why was all this thing hidden from me? And I realized now that nothing happened before its time, right?
True.
So it was based off timing. So that's how I was introduced to it. And how I met him is that I was watching the video that he brought out. I think it was called Elohim. And he stated that I'm going to a certain place, I want to bring certain people with me.
Right.
So with the power of the mind, as they teach now, I said to myself, wherever he's going to be, I'm going to be there. So through the power of mind and the mind power and visualization, I was able to meet the true guide in this day and time, Dr. Malachi Z. York.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how that happened.
Wow. So where do you see yourself with this movement?
Oh, the movement is spreading like wildfire. Because what happened, you have cycles, meaning that you have sun cycle, moon cycle, and there's two of each. Kind of like you have summer, spring, fall, and you have winter, so there's seasons.
Right.
So you won't find a lot of African American in the winter time want to go skiing.
True.
We adapt and then we do
ice
it.
fishing
And ice fishing. So every human species have their time when they do certain things, where they come to power.
Yeah.
So basically now we come back in what you call the sun cycle, or they call it the Aquarian age. But in Egypt we call it age of Ptah. Ptah means the opener.
Okay.
So what happened, we're coming to the cycle called the sun cycle, and it's time for Africans to get back into power. As you see what's happening in Africa right now, there's a lot of coup that's happening, and they're kicking the French out of Africa. So just like how you mentioned about that sister, how they saw what she was doing here in Eglinton with a farmer's market, and we do something else.
Yes.
So it's going to be the same effect in Africa. When one person does it successfully, then other countries are going to follow suit.
Yes.
So that's their fear, because they say monkey see, monkey do. And they call us monkeys, right?
Right.
But this is something good that we're doing. It's like, listen, we got to come to a point where we got to do things on our own, make our own mistakes, fall down and learn from it without somebody always picking us up. That means that we're not men yet, or we're not women yet. If I gotta always go to you to solve my problems and not go through the whole scheme of things and eventually come with a solution, There's 1.7 billion people in Africa.
Yeah.
I'm sure we have brilliant minds
They do.
to solve our own problems.
They do.
Because God, right? If they claim He's a God, God gave the Africans all the minerals, all the resources. So you try and tell you give us all that and no brains to solve our own problems?
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Yeah.
So the solution is that we gotta do for ourselves and kind
Yes.
our own mistakes and our own victories, with no outside interference. So that's what we have to do.
You and I once, I think spring, engaged in a light conversation at the laundromat, and something you said that struck me about there's some black folks bought land outside of Toronto and doing certain things. Elaborate on that.
Yeah, that was Pomoja Farms. What happened? They purchased over 100 acres of land. Right,
that's a lot of land.
So that's a lot of land.
Yeah.
So basically, it's for the people. If we're so concerned, like our people, we have a problem. Is like we want to be the second to do things, and the reason that happens is because they tricked us with time.
Right.
Because they start time with a second. They say 1 second, 2 second, or whatever, going on and on. But if you're in Olympics, you've got a first place, a second place, and a third place.
Right.
They don't start with a second place.
Right.
Right? You're the first place. So we got to be the first to start doing things and start doing things based on the second. So there's other black people also with farms also within Toronto, but specifically Pomoja Farms that I'm associated with is that there's 100 acres that's available. Yeah. So if our people is really serious about our own food sovereignty, healthy foods, we have the mind power, we have the brain power. All we gotta do is come together, what we have in common, and see within this initiative, because it's a family initiative, it's a community initiative. It's not one person that says this is gonna happen. It's who has the best idea, and then it's presented to the body, and then we move forward with whatever that's gonna help the whole and the generation to create generational wealth. Because for one, we don't know what's under the land. Right? Because you have technology right now. You can get a surveyor and he can scan what's under the land. And what's under there could solve all our problems in Toronto. But we got to come together and what we have in common. And we know the land is power. You can't fall off the land. You can fall off a tree, but you can't fall off the land.
Right.
And we have that. Right. So if we're complaining about our own food, that problem is already solved because the land is there. All you need is to put gas in your car and travel an hour and a half if you're really serious, and let's do the work. It's very simple math. So we're the Africans or blacks in Toronto, we're the only ones holding us back because we don't want to take personal responsibility to do for ourselves and our kind. So when stuff hits the fan, we can only blame ourselves. We can't blame the white man. We can't blame the Chinese. We can't blame the Indians. We can only blame ourselves. Because the call was put forth so we can work together, and once that works, get some more. It's very simple. Because it's a prototype that's being set. All we gotta do is work together. It's like a fist, you gotta put it together. So the choice is ours. We gotta decide. It's very simple.
It's quite the illuminating explanation. I had a tour of a farm 2 summers ago up in Downsview by Jacqueline Dwyer.
Wow.
With she had the, how do you call it, the greenhouse and the things she was growing in there totally blew my mind.
Wow.
Stuff for make you sleep better, this cleanse your system, then the vegetable part, this and that, and she had the technology with the solar powered system, and it was mind blowing. It was. I interviewed her here too.
Wow.
So when I see that kind of stuff, it makes me feel as a Caribbean person, as a black person, these are the things we should, because at the end of the day, food is number one. You gotta eat.
You gotta eat.
And if you don't have food, man, go crazy.
A hungry man is an angry man, right?
Right. So when I hear the story with you at the 100 acres, folks up there, and then this Jacqueline, we need to get more of that, and the Laurie Biza Afro-Caribbean Fleet Farmers Market. we need to pull more of that resources together. We need to come together as a community, like what some of these other ethnic groups do, and just seal areas off and just...
The more the better.
Yeah.
Because when you say community, you're saying common unity.
Yeah.
So whatever we have, forget our differences.
Yeah.
Whatever we have in common, we can agree on.
Right.
Let's just work on that. As long as we concentrate on the differences, we'll never get anywhere. Because we don't have a money problem in our community. We have a trust problem.
Right.
Because we're worried about who's carrying the bag, and for some reason, I don't know if they put like a spell on the money before it goes out to the public or whatever the case is. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we don't have a money problem in our community. We just have a trust problem.
Yes. And we need to clean things up.
Yeah. So if we dedicate what we have in common,
yeah, I
think that would solve anything, and that'll make a community common unity. Yes.
And you're absolutely on point, man. In terms of, let's say, like what you saw, that parade going on the road just before you came here in the studio, what's your take on that?
My take on that is that everybody has expiry date.
Okay.
So what happened, like in the animal family, like you won't really see like an albino roach.
Okay.
Right? So what happened, it shows that it's at the end of its genes.
Yes.
At its gene pool. So basically, what we term as Mukasu, or what you call a European,
yes,
they have an expiry date.
Right.
And what happened, the expiry date was the year 2080. Because in the Bible, it terms they have dominions over the fish of the sea and the air of the fowls. So their dominion was from 3761 BC up to the year 2000. So it's a 6,000 year life time span when their genes, because their telomeres was programmed that way. So what happened with all these things happen, it's just a fading out of that flower in the garden. And it's not even, they can't even control what's going to happen. So it's, understand you're fighting for survival, but it's just a reality that nature or God dictated that, and just that it's summer now, winter's over, and they just have to go. Right. That's why everything's going on the ground. Everything's being put together. So if they fade away, we wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
Because we like the sun.
Right.
So we'll all be on the surface. Remember, you have Uber Eats, you have DoorDash, you have all these different things. So they can get the food with even with drones can deliver the food. So if they died in your home in your condominiums, you wouldn't even know they're dead. You wouldn't even know, because they're underground and we're surface. But it's all a part of prophecy. Where the Africans at home and abroad, where it's time for us to start blooming and blossoming and flourishing and starting to enjoy this planet. Because according to the Bible, it says the sins of the father and the mother shall fall on the sons. And it so happened is that it's their people, their generation, that enslaved the Africans in Africa and in the Caribbeans. And what happened now, the children, they're reaping what their foreparents sowed.
That's right.
And this is not man's law. This is God law. Right. So with all this pandemic and stuff going on, this is a result of what's happened to them. You don't see African Americans in the streets doing that. Because we're broke anyway. Yeah. That's not even our concern. Our concern is food, clothing, shelter.
Right, survival.
Our kids are already dying in the streets from cops who were placed there who were racist. Not all the cops, but specific cops. Right. And they're on the streets. So our kids are already dying even before a pandemic. Yes. So that doesn't really concern us. That concerns them. Right. Because what happened, they have lost that comfort zone. And it's not us that's doing it. That's nature that's doing it. That's God that's doing it. Because you got to ask yourself, why would God put a situation like that to get rid of people? If He's an all-loving God. Yeah, right. So this is just some of the prophecies that's happening. It's sad, but it's true.
Interesting.
But the KoolBreeze is here though. Yeah. To cool us off.
Yes.
So I know we're in good hands.
And we are here to transcend the truth. Wow. I'm glad we have this medium, the technology, the Jackie Vibes Radio, the Radio Regent, to tell these stories, the video technology we put up on social media platform, people who don't have a voice, marginalized communities, people disenfranchised, and This is where we come in, and I like to get people from all diaspora to come in and tell their stories.
Exactly.
We don't edit stuff and chop out this to please some party. No, you're getting rich, real, raw, and organic on Jackie Vibes Radio.
That's good. Just don't let them buy you out, huh? These people, when they see what you're doing is organic,
yes,
they tend to think they can always buy you out.
Yes,
because we live in, like you said, what we live in is like we haven't seen $100 million. So to them, they can make the money.
Yes.
So what happens? Sometimes we compromise our integrity because of the money. So if you're gonna keep it real, as long as you got the people,
right,
you're rich already.
Right.
So you're already rich because on this planet you're supposed to fulfill your purpose.
Right.
Mother Teresa, she fulfilled her purpose. The Dalai Lama, he fulfilled his purpose. So this might be your purpose to get to the people, so you don't have to come back.
Right.
Because you're like, why are you here? You're not just here to eat, sleep, defecate, have children. That's my whole existence. I can sum that up in like 1 minute. That's my whole lifetime is in 1 minute.
Right.
So it's basically, how do you want to be remembered?
True.
You're supposed to do something that's going to help humanity progress.
Oh, man.
So you don't have to come back into this realm.
Right.
Yeah.
Astonishing. I like that dialogue there, Amun. Our cultural footprint is significant in what we've made in Toronto. Where do you see yourself with what you're doing right now, taking it in the future, taking it into the cosmos?
The Earth is a part of the cosmos. You got to remember, it's suspended in air.
Right.
Because we're on it, we think we're not a part of the cosmos. It's just that this planet is so negative.
Right.
Because the planet weighs 6 sextillion tons.
Right.
This planet is based off sex. So what happened? All this energy is trapped within this atmosphere. Because if it goes out, it'll contaminate other planets or other place.
Right.
So what happened? It needs a healing.
Yes.
So what happened?
Yes.
Mother Nature. A mother knows all her children. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever it is, and she loves all of them.
Right.
And some of them gotta get chastised. So with all the calamities, be it flood, tornado, diseases, and different things like that, that's just Mother Nature cleansing it. Because we'll only listen when there's something at our doorstep. It's like we don't really care about certain things until it happens to us.
True.
So there's different things that's happening to the planet now. Even with the virus, people started uniting. They started talking.
Yes.
They started finding solution. They started becoming independent. So it's different things like this that Mother Nature does, because the Earth thinks, it breathes, all of these things. It expands, it contracts, like a woman contracts and expands through labor pain. The planet does that. It's a living entity. So the planet is actually is cleansing itself. And what happened? The future of this planet is Wu Sabat.
Right.
It's sound right reasoning. Because you can't be mad at a lion for being a lion.
Right.
That's the nature of the lion. So and each human, there are different species. Where within, like say, the Caucasian species, they got 6. Right. Within the African, there's 9. Within the Asians, there's 3 different species of them. And they're gonna find these things out anyway. So there's 6 strands of Caucasians, and their own species. So what happened? Everybody's basing off. They want to survive, so they gotta mix in with the strongest seed to survive.
Right.
But as the planet shifts and we get more conscious as it spreads out, this planet is gonna be, at least for the next 24,000 years, it's like Public Enemy says, it'll be the fair for Black Planet. So it's gonna become more positive.
Yes.
And we just gotta keep it going until the next cycle comes in. So the future of this planet is Wu Sabat, or what you turn as sound right reasoning.
Right. Wow. Community, folks. Remember, community. The last 5 words in community is unity. Let's get it together, my brothers and sisters. Come together and build a better planet for our children, grandchildren, and so on and so such. Yes, it's I want to ask you something. We talked about planets and this and that, and dimensions and cosmos and things. What's your take, man? Did man really went on the moon?
I was watching. They said it was a hoax, and they use with a green screen. You can use anything, right? With a green screen.
That's
right?
what I heard too.
So what happened? I remember, like, Above you have what they call the sun eternally yellow.
Right.
Below the water it says blue. The color between those is green.
Right.
So it's like that's like the vegetating the planet.
Right.
And what happened? All the fruits and stuff. So the green is what give all the fruits and stuff its value.
Right.
So in media they use a green screen to project whatever they want to project.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like they have the ability. Like it just mean that our people are waking up.
Yes.
So before they could have told us anything.
Yeah, because the media wasn't there.
Yeah.
And the social media and the this and that. And
exactly.
we live in the age of innocent. We believe everything the media told us back in those days.
Exactly.
So I had an argument, a discussion with some cats on work a couple of years ago. And it came out as a very comedic, but information session with me and myself and two other cats. One says, how is it a man could go on the moon with no atmospheric pressure with the American flag blowing like that?
Yeah.
So that was one thing. Another cat says, the Van Allen belt, to cross that circle around it, you would vaporize with radiation. We didn't get close.
Wow.
Then there was another theory. How did you get all this millions of fuel to fly that far and back?
Yeah.
And Buzz Aldrin says, when they asked him one time, he was crossing a street in Manhattan and they asked, oh, you're a hoax, there's fraud, and he punched him out.
Wow.
And then in an interview years down the road, he goes, I wish we had more fuel. Then they had
That's interesting.
they had all kinds of theories. They said it was filmed somewhere in Arizona or Nevada.
Wow.
In that places that looks like moon type thing. They say they couldn't get that that space module that far, and then they had another thing where Buzz Aldrin got sick on that, some kind, like it's similar to like motion sickness, seasickness type thing. He the only one got it for a week, but the other two guys didn't get it.
Wow.
All kinds of weird theory that had validity to it about this moon lunar landing stuff. And it's just mind blowing. It is just mind blowing. And okay, you discovered something. Why did you not go back?
There might be something else there too. It's like for example, the Africa exists and we're here. Yeah. But you might go there, but there's something that you encounter. Like if you go to Africa, they might encounter what's that thing called that they get with the mosquitoes, malaria. So you might like, I'm not going back. So if they went there, there might be other beings that's already on the moon that they encountered that they can't deal with because look at the time frame. So what happens is like just like we can come and go. Right. We wouldn't dare believe that we're the only intelligent species in the boundless universe. So we can go. Right. What is to say that this other beings can't come and go from where they're from? Right. And that's just like a meeting point. Like they say Toronto means a meeting place. Yes. So how do you know that the moon is not a meeting place for different intergalactical beings in the cosmos that goes there? And they actually encounter them. It's like, listen, there's no reason for me to go back here. I don't want to become food. Right. Right. On the menu. So there's so much other like things you gotta put in consideration. Why they didn't want to go back. Well, listen, they paid Stanley Kubrick, the filmmaker, to slow down the film and all the theatrics and the green screen and all that kind of stuff. That was another theory. One of the astronauts says they saw some weird looking thing on the way up from space before they meet the moon, and it is just it's like how do you call this? It's like urban legend and all this kind of stuff. So another guy came up with a theory. It was a distraction because Martin Luther King got shot the Vietnam War, the civil unrest. So they're trying to track at that period of time. A lot of craziness. America was changing. Wow. So they had to use these things to take your mind. Wow. Yeah. So I just and then when they corner a guy one day, he said he had a big binder. I was watching this documentary. I got a fax. We went on the moon. I'm ready to put my neck on it and this and that. And they were asking him some questions, and he couldn't answer straight. Wow. It's just thing. It was just blow me away, man. No, that's interesting. But if people are really interested in like doing more research, there's a book called Mission Earth, The Man from Planet Risk, Shambhala and Argata. Extraterrestrial and Creation. These are all books written by Dr. Malachi Z. York, right? You can find it at unitedsabaeans.com. There's
Right.
different books. If they're actually interested about more information about like extraterrestrials, is God and extraterrestrials? These are books. If they really like want to know the truth
Yeah.
and to do further research,
Right.
these are books that they can actually check out and go like any All Eyes on Egypt bookstores in the United States, Canada, Trinidad, Jamaica, wherever they're at. We're everywhere because Wusabat is the future.
Right.
Yeah.
Astonishing. Splendid. I see all kinds of video clips on WhatsApp. People send to me every day. There's a transformation going on in Africa.
Yeah.
People are say, listen, we had enough of this colonial powers
Yeah.
sucking out our resources. We're getting nothing in return. All they're just doing is blasting us with a bad name, like we can't do for ourselves, but
Yeah.
they're sucking out all of our wealth.
Yeah.
The French, the English, Dutch, all the Portuguese,
Yeah.
they've been draining Africa for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we still, a lot of these places still have bad roads, bad houses, bad everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of these places are just getting the act together and coming together.
Yeah.
What's your take?
The timing is perfect because what happened, we're getting into a new cycle.
Right.
So like I was saying, like our people was under a hypnotic spell,
Yeah.
right? And it's based off faith and belief.
Right.
Because in Africa, there you won't find a lot of Buddhist temples.
Right.
You won't find a lot of Hindu temples,
Okay.
right? But you will find mosques
Right.
and you will find churches.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, how did they get there? Right? How did they get into Africa? They're like churches that you know now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been saturated with Christianity and Islam, but those religions, they're based off faith and belief.
Right.
It's not based off knowing,
Right.
because even in what you call Africa, you have the pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take faith and belief to build those pyramids. You have to know math. You have to be a scientist.
Mm-hmm.
You have to literally know. They have a stone that's weighed over like 2-3 tons, and to suspend those and build that they can't duplicate it this day and time. You have to know that.
Yeah.
But what happened when they brought in Christianity and Islam, it's like, thank God, or they give somebody else the credit.
Yes.
It's kind of like on Christmas, me as a parent going buy the present for my child, put on the tree, right? And then tell the child, oh, Santa came on a reindeer and came down the chimney and gave it to you. So
Yeah.
Santa's breaking and entering just to give you a present. So the parent lied to the child, knowing that they know that they did this,
Yeah.
but forced to lie that Santa brought it on a sleigh. So what happens is that they replace knowing, sound right reasoning with faith and belief.
Right.
So now what happened, that hypnotic spell is being lifted by way of Wu Sabat, or right knowledge, that was brought to the planet by Dr. Malachi Z. York. Called Dr. Malachi Z. York he's a guide, what we term the first begotten of the dead.
Right.
Meaning that we're in a dead state, like mentally, we're mentally dead.
Right.
And once you control somebody's mind, you can control their bodies.
All on senses and everything.
Exactly.
Right.
So what happened, the powers that be, because they had access to all the scientific instruments,
Yeah.
all we had was spirituality.
Okay.
But they had the instruments, so they had time to learn how to manipulate humans' emotions, human how we act, how we react, so they can control it. But now, as the spell is lifting, as we're coming into the sun cycle, because what happened, the sun is it's ether and it's connected to your brain. So what happened, the sun gives out information. In order for a plant to grow and to look how it looks, it has to get information from the sun. Because once the sun hits it, it rejuvenates and it grows. It's a certain height, it's a certain look, everything. So it's the same thing with the African at home and abroad. Once the sun hits your hair is your strength, an antenna.
Yeah.
Right? So it's taking this information that's being sent from the sun or from our ancestors, because our ancestors are literally their stars.
Right.
If you ever watch the cartoon, The Lion King, when he brought his sons and one the person that died, the sun popped up and he says, see, that's your ancestors. So we're literally stars or stardust and it's sending information. They call it spooky action at a distance.
Mhm.
It's just that we're on the wrong channel.
Right.
If you're not on KoolBreeze, you're on the wrong channel.
Say,
So what happened, once you're in the right channel, what happened, the current will just flow. So what happened, our people are starting to wake up and it's starting to flow, and slowly we're taking all the bad habits out, which is Europeans, out of our system.
Yeah.
And we're going to make mistakes, but ultimately we're going to win.
Right.
Because there's no way we're not going to win.
Well, back to the pyramids. I remember some Middle Eastern lawyer trying to brainwash people. They're the one build the pyramids and this. Well, somebody came up with a theory. Well, these things were built before Middle Eastern people got set foot in Africa.
Yeah.
So that died. Then Europeans tried to, but that didn't wash. They started stealing stuff out of the pyramids and coffins and things like that. And then a friend of mine says, well, why would, they said black people wasn't intelligent enough to build that. Well, why would a white man go into Africa, build all this thing, carve black people's faces on these things and not his own? Doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, you got to realize, right, how they didn't build it. If you go to Saudi Arabia, the streets are clean.
Yeah.
If you go by the pyramids,
Yeah.
they keep it messy.
Right.
So if you keep your own land clean, this was also yours.
Yeah.
Why won't you keep this clean too?
True that.
Something as simple as that.
Yeah.
Why didn't you keep it as clean as it is over there?
Yeah.
So what happened? They have to do that to give themselves validity.
Yes.
For example, they say a person named Jesus existed, a person named Moses existed, a person named Abraham existed, that they can't prove.
And the same was white.
Right? But what happened? The pyramid existed.
Right.
So what they did is that they told you that Abraham went to Egypt, they told you Jesus went to Egypt, and they told you Moses went to Egypt. So what happened, because that's a true reality even today, by saying that they went there, it make you think that those people were real.
Yeah.
So they have to insert themselves within our history to give themselves validity. That's how they live. You gotta run parallel with something that's real to make yourself look real. So that's why they're doing that, and they have to do that.
Yeah.
Because this is the last what they consider the seventh wonder of the world that still stands.
Yeah.
It's the only one of the world to this day. So they have to do that.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's a compliment to me.
Yeah.
That you want to be us. It's a compliment.
Absolutely.
You know, you're getting Botox now.
Yeah.
They're getting lip implants.
Yeah.
You know, they want to be us. They want to be Sarah. What's her name? Sarah. The lady they took to Europe and tried to degrade her.
Yeah.
They want to be her now.
Yeah.
You know,
And
ridicule before honor.
Yes. And then white scientists said, oh, black man was not intelligent to build these things and have all these things created in history that's vital to historical aspects and things like that. But it's written up there on the pyramids. Everything is there. And then then he turned around and said, well, Martians and extraterrestrial.
No, that's true. We had help. It's like if you go to a university, there's an instructor that teaches you. It's like, who's the first person that came up with math?
Right.
Then eventually they got to teach somebody. So there was help from people from the start, which are ancestors that came from Sirius and that came from Orion. That's why you find the three the three pyramids.
Yes.
Those three pyramids line up to Orion's belt, and then they got recorded in your scriptures as Our Father who art in heaven.
Yeah.
And the word there was Oranos in the Greek, which is Orion. Orion. They have Orion. Also have Orion films when you watch a movie.
Yes.
So it's a star constellation. So we had instructors, or it's like you might fly. You want to learn French. You want to learn from Quebec. You fly a teacher from France,
right?
From France, to come teach you French.
Right.
So what happened? We had beings who were intelligent that can come and go. Just like in America and Grand Canyon, they have Egyptian artifacts there. So how did they get over there?
Right.
To do all of that. So we have the intelligence that could come and go, where they're able to instruct the inhabitants with their children in what they call Egypt today, and they're able to construct the pyramid.
Yeah. Well, don't tell me a creature with green skin and big teeth came in and built a pyramid and all this nonsense.
No, they had green skin too, but not necessarily big teeth.
Yeah, and the creek come out from a flying spaceship out of
No, these things do happen. They do have cracks because they do have some cracks that are like pyramids or like a diamond shape. Look at a diamond or a cube. Once you stick it inside the ground, right, it makes a pyramid shape because they're a cube. But when a cube goes so fast, it looks like it's a circle. So what happened? They have to ridicule the truth. So what happened? They won't let Africans accept what it is.
To empower them.
This is how powerful we are.
Right.
Even our body, our body itself is also a ship. Mean that you got a physical body, you got a etheric body, you got a spiritual body. When you dream, what body is that? Cause you're dreaming, you can see things happening in the dream.
Right.
Your physical body is on the bed, but your spiritual body is actually traveling.
Right.
It's just that you have lost the ability to bring your physical body with your spiritual body in what they call the dream world.
Right.
So what happened? You lost that ability. So they gotta tell you all the different things to scare you from being who and what you really are. We're literally supreme beings, where you had the ability to come and go as you wish.
Yeah.
But we have lost that ability. So with the teaching of Dr. Malachi Z. York, these are some of the ultimate steps that we got to get back to, where he's here to teach, where you have the ability, just like any plane that flies from Canada to Grenada and back, or Canada to Jamaica and back, your body itself is a ship. It's just that you don't know how to utilize your own tools of your body called your chakra. You can't utilize them. So because you can't utilize them, you can't travel at will.
Right.
So you're trapped here by gravity. Or a passport. You know?
Right.
You got a passport to go somewhere.
Right.
They got you trapped, right? So yeah. But they gotta ridicule us.
Yeah.
So you don't love yourself.
Right.
And that's a part of the spell, self-hate.
Yeah.
The spell is spiritual ignorance, which is faith and belief. Right? And then spiritual and racial blindness.
Yes.
Where we can't accept each other, that you're good at what you do and I can learn from you.
Right.
I'm good at what I can do and you can learn from me.
Right.
And just accept it for what it is. Because what they term God give people different talents at different levels, and some have it naturally. So we just gotta be more common unity. I want the best for you as I want for myself, and then we'll be okay.
I remember when Trump was in the power, he made this blast, Africa, they're good for nothing, I don't want them here, they don't produce nothing, this and blah blah blah, they live in shitholes and all this stuff. Then I went down on a video with this guy covering all these cities, ghettos, all over America. It's deplorable. It's worse than places I've seen in Africa, man. I said, you have the richest country in the world, and you just put money into the war machine, and you're not building your infrastructure, and you have the nerve to talk about somebody else who's trying, that you raped, pillaged for hundreds of years, trying to get their act together, and it's the same demonization is still going on today.
Yeah, you're correct. But how I look at it personally from that statement is that that's a direct challenge. Prove me wrong.
Okay.
I mean, like now we're kicking all the French out. Right. French come out, all Europeans leave. Now, prove the person wrong.
Right.
Because if you don't do it, then it's like he's right. He just made a statement.
Right.
So now you gotta research, do what you have to do.
Right.
And you gotta build wherever he's at. You gotta build something as good as Trump Tower or better. In order to prove him wrong. And I know we have the intelligence. I know we have the skill
to do it.
So to me, that's just a direct challenge.
Right.
It's like somebody said to me, KoolBreeze is not the best radio station. This guy's challenging me. So you gotta bring out your resume.
Right.
No. So what we have to do is that this is a person that's at the head of what they call America. Right. That is actually acknowledging you. So now, every African be like, what do you mean that we're not such and such? Right. So through social media now, no, look what we have. Because prior to that, the question would be, were you doing that?
Because they couldn't see.
Because you couldn't see that. So what happened, that forced the people in Africa to show what they already have, what they're going to have, and what they will have. So me personally, how I look at it, it's a challenge to like, let men be men. Because if he can do it, the Chinese can do it, the Indian can do it, we can do much more and better. Right. If not, then he's right.
And look, I remember I came in the 70s, and they always 70s, 80s, 90s. You always used to hear all these crazy nonsense about Africa. But then I always found the white man going to Africa all to visit and traveling.
Africa is like a beautiful woman,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And if you're as young, sometimes if you're being with a beautiful woman who has everything that you're looking at,
Yeah.
you can't sleep at night. You want to call it, but you're afraid. You want to, like, you're sweating her too much,
Yeah.
right? And you tell your virgin about it. But you tell your virgin, this is my girl.
Mm.
This is my girl, it's my wife.
You want
But
some-
somehow
some
you're
action.
trying to sneak and get it.
Yeah.
So what happened? They went into Africa and they seen this nice, beautiful woman, and all these European country wants a piece of her. And she's forever giving because she's a mother. And as long as she gives, they don't keep on taking.
Yeah.
Until us as men say, really demand, no, this is my woman.
Yeah.
Enough is enough. So that's the point we gotta get to. No, this is our woman.
Right.
Enough is enough.
Right.
Y'all can't just come and ride her as you wish. It's not happening anymore.
Okay.
So we gotta get to that point because we allow it to happen.
Yeah.
That's why it happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's only gonna happen because you allow it.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
Chinese are going into Africa now and help the infrastructure and do their thing.
Yeah.
Russian Putin
Yeah.
going in and say clean up some Africa debt and
Yeah.
helping the military this and that.
Yeah.
What's your view?
Well, as our teaching, the Chinese military is going to end up training the Africans because the Chinese are scientists, and what happened, they bred their lineages to Africans.
Okay.
Because the first dynasties, I forgot the name of the dynasties, they're actually Africans that went into China
Right.
and developed them, and then
Right.
eventually, it is what it is now.
Right.
So what happened is, like, genetically they already said themselves, okay, we have African DNA. So in their head, Africa is mine too.
Right. Okay. Right.
Africa, they said Africa is mine too. So it's just us as a people just need to make proper decision because Africa has all the resources. He has everything that he needs for everybody in the future.
Right.
So we can't just be stupid because you're paying off my debt. Just here you go.
Yeah.
I personally think that we should take our time and try to develop on our own without anybody help. If we need it, we'll ask for it. I don't know if they ask for it or they just like, okay, we got these old debts, we got to clear it up. Africa got enough of everything. They won't, they can't take everything.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're looking at it.
Yeah. There's a price to pay for these things.
It's a price to pay. But personally, I would like, let's see what we can do by ourselves.
Right.
Let's fall down and bust up our knees. If you fall 8 times, get up 9.
Right. Right.
And just do it, because remember, China blocked themselves off from the whole world. Even Japan, after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they blocked themselves off from the whole world. And now look what they present to the world. They control America's debt. So we gotta take that same mentality. Listen, let's give us a chance to do things on our own without any outside help, and that's where our potential will come out. Because a diamond was originally what they considered something was from coal,
Right.
but under pressure,
Right.
it became a valuable mineral.
Right.
So us as a people, we have to take that pressure, like the coal, take the pressure, and from that we'll bring out diamonds. But as long as we're getting outside help, that relieves the pressure,
Right.
that relieves the stress, because you're using it as a fail safe.
Yes.
If we can't do it, I'll just go to the Chinese.
Yeah.
If I can't do it, I'll just go to the Russians.
Yeah.
But we gotta take this pressure, and develop.
Yeah.
Then once we see, like, we did it without no outside interference, without no outside help,
Yeah.
we did it. And that's living for self and kind. And then we can present ourselves to the world with what we have, because we have the brain. There's a guy that developed Uber, Facebook. His name is Idris. He's from Ghana. And that brilliant mind alone, that's just what he gave them. Imagine what the ancestors gave them that's inside, is not telling them about. It's just a matter put in the proper perspective
Yeah.
and doing what we have to do. We got a brain power.
Yes.
It's just only thing that's holding us back is us.
True.
It's very simple.
True that.
Yeah.
I remember years ago,
Yeah.
I was presented with some information that totally blew me away. Like a black inventors.
Black inventors. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I remember the brothers hand those out on the street. Wow.
Yeah. Black inventors. It is mind blowing that some of the things we use today. So, society.
Wow.
Yes,
That's
and
a lot of stuff.
it's powerful stuff, man. And this is another thing I put together called the catalog of oppression.
Wow.
Still alive. Some more I have to add to it, but we have to know these things.
Wow. Yeah, we do.
We have to know these things, and very vital information.
Wow.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah, it is. I do a lot of research and development and put my stuff together. I'll give you a copy of those.
That's powerful.
Yeah, and it's been Jackie Vibes Radio is the voice of the people in the heart of a struggle. KoolBreeze, I'm proud to be part of the revolutionary cosmic in Toronto. I'm here with Amun. By synthesizing the world's elements, we can build a better planet. Jackie Vibes Radio, we are vanguards of music, serving and sustaining nourishing practice of land, sea, sky, mind and body and soul, keeping the music rich, real and organic. Amun, it's a pleasure to have you in the studio. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your perspective. Come see us again.
I will.
Any last words?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
This is Amun of the Sabian Nation, student of the Master Teacher Dr. Malachi Z. York.
Mm-hmm.
And you're tuned into DJ KoolBreeze. If the breeze ain't cool, don't go in there, man. If the breeze ain't cool, it ain't breeze.
Yes, sir. You heard the man. You heard the man. You heard the man. Yes, sir. Pleasure, pleasure, pleasure.